Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another fishing video here in New World. I've got my little brother joining us today, Jared. Introduce yourself, Jared.
Hello, good people. My name is Jared. I am I am a fellow brother of the one we call Jeff.
Hello. Thanks for joining me. We've been talking, before I started recording. So I guess we could just kind of like pick up where we've been talking, like nothing
I've
ever
been asking
changed.
I've been asking Jeff if how he would react if he found out this world was a matrix.
Yeah, we have talked about that. I would say I'd still react with a little bit of panic, you know, like the meme, panic,
The
calm.
the exact you could be like the Keanu Reeves face meme where he's like panicking in the street. I
Yeah,
think he's got to be one of, if not like multiple, like I guess one of the actors that changes his hair and facial hair the most. He's got the like long hair and like pretty solid beard now, but I think through the years he's changed it a lot.
he has changed it a little bit. I just got level 69 on fishing. Nice.
Nice.
I would say that Keanu Reeves is definitely one of my favorite actors, not just for the memes and not just for the Matrix, but in general, he just does really good work.
Yeah,
And he
there's
just seems like a
a
genuinely good person too.
yeah, agreed. He there's a movie called The Lake House that he's in as well that I think he did a really good job in. Um, I think
Yeah, that
that
was an older one, isn't it?
yeah, it's got Sandra Bullock in it. I think it was
Yeah,
like
I remember that movie.
2004-ish
Yeah,
that it
I
came
remember
out.
that movie. Yep.
That's a really good one he's in.
That movie came out my freshman year of high school. Can you believe that?
It's it's a bit ago, but it was really good.
Definitely not in my mid 30s.
Man, I mean, you only is how you feel, man. You know what I'm saying?
I know. You gotta stop
I
counting that.
think I think that you know, with like when you want to like with Keanu Reeves, I think that compared to like I watched Speed the other day, like not the other day, but a little while ago, and compared to like how he takes that character as like somebody with the Matrix, I think that's why the Matrix is so loved. It's because I think he just does such an amazing job in that movie. Not that Speed isn't a good movie, but I just think he does he fits with the character of Neo so well.
He does fit the character of Neo so well. It's one of the roles where, there's a couple different things going on. It's like, it's hard to imagine somebody else in a role because, like, if they didn't play the role, then how do you imagine somebody else would do it? It's only left up to your imagination. But then there's some roles that are just so iconic. There's no way that anybody could at least come behind them and do it the same way or give the same feeling to the character. Keanu Reeves is one of these actors
Does
that's
it
not.
fantastic.
He's not necessarily the most talented actor to ever live, but because he's so like true to himself, it's almost as if like you can't help but like him because he's just being honest with his acting. Like even if he's not the best, you can tell that he's doing his best, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like
No,
even if his
I
best
totally.
isn't the greatest of all time, it's enough to make you like him enough to believe whatever character he's playing. That's what I was kind of telling you the other night. Is like, you know, there's a certain point I think where you know to be in character, it's almost as if it's easier to believe a character. It's easier to believe an actor that you know well and you know is a good actor than to believe somebody as a character that you've never heard of before. Like when you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, I don't know any of these actors. Like it's harder to
Yeah.
believe that they're the real, they're the the character that they're playing. But with somebody like Keanu Reeves, you're like, yeah, man, like that's Neo right there. Like he's gonna deliver. That's why I think I have such confidence in the new Matrix coming out is not necessarily because it's gonna be better than the original trilogy in any way. I don't think that. But what I do think is that Keanu Reeves is going to give his all. You know, the woman that's directing it is like in the family of the Wachowskis. Is that how you say their name?
I think so.
It's
is
it's
it not
definitely
her?
not just a money grab. It's definitely like there's passion in the project for sure.
Yeah.
Always important factor when doing any type of sequel. Like there has to be passion for it. You know, if it's just a money grab, it's always easy to tell. Like okay, like this is just we know what this is. It's just like trying to have a quick cash grab
Yeah.
on an original franchise.
I think yeah, like you're saying, it just goes to show that I do think there is a lot of passion behind the movie because when you look at like when they come back after having an absence between the movies and stuff like that, if it was a different director besides one of the Wachowskis, I would have no faith in it at all. Just because you gotta have like I think it's the reason why I'm gonna be excited to see Toby, but I'm nervous because, like Sam Raimi. The reason why the Raimi trilogy is so perfect is because it's truly like if you watch the movies, there's a character. It's one of Sam Raimi's friends, and he's the usher in Spider-Man 2. He's the guy that announces Spider-Man in Spider-Man 1, and he's the French hostess in Spider-Man 3. And basically, he sums it up the best. He was like, Sam cares about the characters so much of Spider-Man that I don't think that he could do anything bad with them because of how much he cares.
Yeah.
Cares for those movies. And I don't know. I worry because as much as I want to see Toby, I also only want to see Toby with like Sam's touch on, like that's what made those movies so special. It is having his touch and someone who understands a character like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that those two trilogies in themselves, like as far as great trilogies goes, The Matrix and Spider-Man are I think two of the best, if not the best.
Well, they're definitely two of the most iconic, I would say.
Yeah, I think that as far as other trilogies go, I mean, it depends on how you look at trilogies. You could look at like, Star Wars technically as a trilogy, even though they're chronologically 6. But I don't know.
I would look at the Star Wars as a universe, the Star Wars universe.
Man,
The thing that like with fandom and like fan bases in general, I almost don't give credit to anyone's opinion, especially those that don't like participate in like the expanded universes and whatever.
Yeah.
And whatever you're talking about, because like with Star Wars again, for example, there's all these books too. There's all these books and graphic novels that like make the Star Wars universe so much bigger than just the movies. And then you have people that are just like want to talk trash about the movies. It's like, man, you're so focused on like being negative on one aspect of the whole universe. You've got
Yeah.
so much lore available to you. If you're a true fan of the universe, like there's so much lore available to you. It's like you're gonna complain about a movie that took millions of dollars to make that they didn't have to make. I mean,
Well, that's the problem with.
I went to the wrong fishing hole. Whoops.
That's the main problem with like everything's subjective and everything's opinionated. Like when you talk about like movies and stuff like that, it's like there's certain movies that I know that other people don't like that are so special to some people, and it's like how could you know what I mean? It's like when I've looked at people's top 10s, they may be way different than mine, but it's just because the movies resonate with them so differently. Everybody goes through so many different things. It's like um, it's just impossible to say, oh, this is the best for this reason.
There's
And
some movies that are just universal though. Like
oh no, I agree. Like some of them,
I've never met
no
anyone that
passion.
doesn't like Forrest Gump, for example.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, there's ones that are universal, and then there's ones that I say are bad because there was no there like you said, it was a cash grab, or there was no passion behind it, or um, you know what I mean. I just think that like it there's
yeah.
I don't know.
Like
I think
The latest Mortal Kombat, for example, was it was good at its core. And again, going back to the actor, the unknown actor aspect, it was hard for me to believe the characters as much because I'd never heard of any of those actors. Not taking away
yeah.
anything from those actors, but I just, you know, you want
Well,
to
I think that
believe, you want to be immersed, and it's easier to believe and be immersed if you know the actor. As it sounds contradicting because you're like, oh well, if you know the actor, then you know,
yeah,
you know,
I get what you're saying.
that this person is an actor and that he's not the character. But
Yeah,
for me, it's the opposite, and it's hard to explain. Like to me, Hiroyuki Sanada like definitely carried a lot of the movie on Mortal Kombat just because I've seen him in a lot of movies, and like, dude, I believe that he is Scorpion. You know what I mean? Like when I watch him in that movie, like he is that character and embodies it so well. Like he carried a lot of the movie, and then you have to like stretch your mind to believe the other characters throughout the rest of the movie. It's like and that movie is like a perfect balance of like passion because they actually like the franchise, and a cash grab because like
yeah. I find it funny is that you brought up Mortal Kombat. I just rewatched the original one. I hadn't seen it since we watched it together,
oh
and
yeah,
I gotta say, I, whoever like choreographed the fight between Johnny Cage
and Scorpion.
and Scorpion, like
Yeah,
deserves an Oscar.
it's
Like
a super good
it's
fight, even by today's standards.
it's so it's like uh, I just love that like at no point at no point are you just like that's silly. You're at every point in that fight you're just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, dude, Scorpion as a character in the original movie is so good too. I like
Dude,
that fight as well when he like brings him down to his realm or whatever. He's like welcome and just like attacks
dude,
him. It's like,
yes, dude. When he leans forward and does the fire breathing, and it's just like you can one thing that I think is so special when they're able to pull it off is making you feel movement and weight. I know that sounds like weird, but when they're able to express like the force of something or like a punch or something,
yeah,
it's really special. Like I
it
think that
is.
in like for example, Invincible does such a good job of making you feel every single punch. Like you're watching that show and you're just like, oh, oh no, like fucking Omni Man is like beating the shit out of Mark Grayson, and every punch you're just like, oh please no, please.
Yeah, it's something when Invincible does do that really well. A lot of the punches and blows that are in that movie you think are going to kill the other character that's receiving them.
I just like it's so amazing.
Dragon Ball Z
Like
obviously does that amazing.
Dragon Ball Z does that. That's one thing that like makes the Vegeta versus Goku fight in season 9 when they're like fighting in the Buu saga. Dude, those like every punch from that fight is like you're just like ow.
Yeah, I'll tell you another
That
show
was
that does that also amazingly is One Punch Man. I know you probably
like
haven't. I don't think you've watched
the
One
clips,
Punch Man
yeah.
yet, but like the punches and the fight scene. You need to watch One Punch Man. I'm just gonna say that because
the clips I've seen from it are,
the absolute insanity of the fight scenes. It's worth it.
no, I don't doubt it.
Like, there's not much of a story to that show. It's really just a meme. Like, the whole character is like he wrote that character as like an unbeatable superhero, almost like a satire. Like, I mean, what's more satirical than that? Like a hero that's so strong, like Superman syndrome. You know, like a hero that's so strong it only takes one punch to defeat anyone, and like no matter how, astronomically powerful or unbeatable his foes seem, he just always kills them in one punch. Like,
yeah,
it's really an amazing concept because that was Superman's problem back, shortly after that character was created. Like, Superman came out as the character that could fly, as a superhero that could fly. He's invulnerable for the most part. He didn't have any real weaknesses, but then it got to the point where he was so strong and so fast that like nothing could hurt him. And then guess what happens? Like, he becomes boring. So then they wrote into his story that his one weakness is kryptonite. And there's all different kinds of kryptonite. There's like a kryptonite that kills him. There's a kryptonite that like only weakens him a little bit. There's kryptonite that, turns him evil. It's like they did a lot of cool stuff with it. And now like we know Superman as being like, he's still Superman, like one of the most powerful beings in our like imagination, but he's not without weaknesses. And it's just funny the way that works. In a way,
I love that though. I love the concept of any strong character like that, like testing their limits about how strong they are. Like, that's what makes fucking obviously Dragon Ball Z or like Invincible or even like Batman v Superman. You really see Superman get tested, and you like. There's nothing more I love than when a character is like so incredibly strong and you see them get tested. I like it's for me one of the coolest things in anything. It's why I love, like, obviously when Triple G and Canelo fought, or like anybody that's like is like, yo, they're amazing, and that you see them get tested is one of the most special privileges that you have of like witnessing that, because it just is so cool.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Like, that's why, dude.
If you disagree with that, you almost like there's no way you can really like appreciate true storytelling if you disagree with that.
No, that's why there's something like what I can give an example of. One of the greatest moments. I rewatched the whole Harry Potter series the other day, and
all of
one
it?
of the great, yeah. So,
you're an absolute madman.
Right?
What is wrong? What's going on in your life?
It still holds up. It's still fantastic. But literally, I have to say is that
I have this meme I have to send you that now that you just rewatched it.
yeah, please. But the in Order of the Phoenix, like, this whole fucking time, and it's especially awesome when you watch them all chronologically, because you see Dumbledore. Like, Dumbledore's this old guy. Like, you get hints of how good he is as a wizard, and you get hints of how fucking amazing Voldemort is as a wizard. And then fucking they're in the fucking like
I found it. I'm gonna sorry, keep going. I'm gonna send it to you.
I'm freaking out because I'm thinking of the scene of how awesome it is. But they're in, like, I can't remember what it's called. They're in the Ministry. That's what it is. And they have the most epic fight scene, or wizard battle. And it just, like, you see them getting, like, tested and the different elements of their spells and stuff like that. And you're just so amazed by the whole thing. I gotta say, son, that the Half-Blood Prince #6 is gotta be my favorite. It's just was shot and directed and written so eloquently. It's incredible.
Yeah.
it's I don't know, it's really cool. There's a lot of like I don't know. I just lately I've like
The
been
heck?
so intrigued by great cinematographers and great these people that are able because there's so much that you take for granted, especially with cinematography and the way things are shot. And it's like you're just so used to seeing movies like that. But if somebody sat you down and was like, "Hey, we have this amazing movie, we have amazing actors, we just need you to shoot the scenes," you would you would be like, "Okay, where do I shoot from? How do I shoot it? Am I too close? Am I too far? Where should I need to be?" Like, there's so much stuff that you don't take into account. That's like it
Yeah.
just makes these shots so special. Like, I'll give you two examples. Um, I can't remember what Superman it was from. Um, but one of the older Supermans, you probably remember this. Somebody shoots him, and it zooms in on his eye, and the bullet goes against his eye, and it like bounces off his eye, and
Yeah.
it's an amazing shot. Um, that you know what I mean? It's not such a great movie, but that shot, you're like, oh, it's really interesting
Dude,
that he was able to think.
how about 300 when you're filming in front of a green screen and you have to get perspective correct within the green screen setting? Like, you can't even tell what your background is.
I mean,
I mean, you know what
yeah,
your background's going to be, but it's not there yet because it's just a green screen when you're filming it.
Yeah,
And you have to film these guys in some of the most incredible action sequences. And, like, I don't care who you are. I don't even care if you don't like war movies. Like, you can't argue that 300 doesn't have just incredible cinematography. Like, so ahead of its time for what Zach did with that movie.
yeah. 300 is such a it's a fantastic movie. It really is. Um, there's another shot in I think
Gladiator.
it's Gladiator is fantastic as
Yeah.
well. I gotta say um, there's a shot in Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End where um, they're coming back from Davy Jones' locker, I think, and they're trying to figure out how do they get back to the regular world, right? And it's like a comedy scene where they have to like rock the boat upside down, but essentially what they do is they show the shot of the ship upside down and they turn it upright to where the ship's facing up under the water. And
Yeah.
it's such a storytelling shot that you're just thinking to yourself that you would take it such for granted, but it's able to convey such a message about what they're trying to achieve by doing this,
Right.
and it's just so incredible.
We're speaking about upside down shots and cinematography. There's a movie, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I own it. It's called Devil. And,
Yes, yes, that movie. Yeah.
yeah.
Ugh.
But there's
It's been a long.
there's this, the beginning of the movie, it opens with the camera flying around the city upside down. And you don't really think about it until you like look at it objectively at what it's showing you. And when you really think about it, if you use the center of the earth as the starting point, it's showing you what our reality actually is. Like, we're living upside down on the surface of something.
It's incredible. I know. It's.
And it shows you
Uh,
like yes, gravity pulls us to the ground, but in reality, if you're
we're upside
flying,
down.
yeah, if you're flying to the earth as a spacecraft from outside of Earth, and you just keep a true straight line, and you were to
Wait a
fly,
second. You're blowing my mind. You're blowing my mind. Now I'm realizing how this is being thought of.
yeah,
If you were to fly
if you were to
to
fly in
Australia,
a straight line, and you were to perfectly, trace your trajectory, into the atmosphere and come just above the surface of the Earth, you're going to be upright if you kept your true straight line from wherever you came
yes,
from. And we're upside down on the surface, being held against the surface with gravity. And that's what that camera shot. I'll never forget the first time I watched that movie. That camera shot literally changed my whole perspective on like what the surface of our planet would look like to an outside entity or
Yes.
or even an entity. You know what I mean? Like, think
Yes.
about it being an entity that doesn't care about up and down or anything like
Yes,
that, like
and
a
if you
demon or
flew.
like, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
any paranormal spirit is not necessarily concerning themselves with up or down. And I think what made me think of that shot in that way was, for whatever reason, I attributed that shot as being through the perspective of like the devil, like flying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's just existing in our reality. Like, he comes to our world, and this is what he sees. Like, he's flying,
Well,
and like our
well,
skyscrapers
yeah.
are pointing downward into oblivion in outer space, and what
Even
we think is the
aliens.
sky is just, yeah, and even aliens, anybody that would come from outside of the planet.
Okay, now
Because
I need to.
in space, there's no up and down. Like,
That's what I'm saying. How so? If you okay, let's just say you're like you're in you're coming to Earth from space,
yeah,
and you're obviously the Earth is spinning, and it's spinning at a fast enough rate where you like NASA has to trajectory to base their trajectory on that. But if you're like an alien and you dropped yourself low enough to where, let's just say Australia was at a point where they're fully upside down related to, the North Pole. If you
yeah.
flew straight, just like you're saying, they would have to flip themselves right side up
They wouldn't need
after
to.
they.
They wouldn't need to, because so the whole thing about like UFOs is like, every time you see a UFO, they might be they're flying right side up, according to them, whatever position
no,
they're in,
I'm
because of
like,
the what they're using, like gravity as like basically a tool to move through space and time. So like,
yeah.
we're upside down to them unless they need to land on our surface.
That's what I'm saying. But if they were but they would fly in they would fly in upside down to them because if they're sentient beings, they obviously have their vision. I mean, clearly we don't know anything about them, but if let's just say their vision was similar to ours, we have a concept of what's upside down and what's not based on our environment.
Well, yeah, but why would you assume that if you're an alien species, right, and you come to Earth, and you see this floating orb, you know what they would probably think? Like, look at all these structures upside down on the outside of the surface of the planet. Like, they're absolutely mad, because like
Yes.
they're leaving themselves open to like space debris and like exposure to the sun and like all other types of damaging stuff. Like,
Did you?
wouldn't it make
Speaking of that,
more
did you-
sense if you're like flying into a planet to go underground, and you would be upside down on the inner surface of the Earth for shelter?
Well, there's
You know
so
what I mean?
many there. Yeah, the only problem with I watched this whole documentary on it about why we don't like obviously there's we dig into the earth and stuff like that, but it's so damn difficult, dude, to dig into our earth. Like we have not mastered at all how to do it correctly. Like it's just a pain in the ass, mainly just because of I wish I could remember more, but I believe once you get through the mantle, like the outer core is too like I forget the reasoning behind it, but
You
it's
don't need
just-
to go
it-
that
it-
deep to protect yourself.
Well, I mean, obviously we don't need to protect ourselves now.
Yeah, we do. I mean, at any moment, a fucking planet-killing asteroid could just.
Oh, I mean, I didn't. I got you. I didn't know you were speaking in that sense. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, why would
Yeah.
why would we
You know-
subject ourselves to space debris?
That you know how many times Jupiter has saved the Earth's life? Like
Yeah, stuff
if it
just
was-
hit it recently. That is like enormous,
Yeah,
enormous objects just have crashed into Jupiter recently,
it's quite crazy.
and
I
the
can't-
entire
yeah,
asteroid belt gets kept in check because of Jupiter.
it's crazy. I was finding that funny. I was watching. I mean, can you, like, I don't think people are understanding the fact that the James Webb Telescope is launching in a month or so, and we could literally, it could, it could break physics. Because they know what they're trying to find with it, but just like the Hubble did, it could outperform what we even think is possible with it.
Yeah.
Like the
It's
Hubble
like,
was not, yeah, the Hubble has outperformed and outlived everything that it said that it originally was predicted with it.
right.
I mean,
Completely outdid itself.
it's so fascinating, dude. Did you speaking of that, did you ever see that video that I sent you that showed all the satellites that are orbiting the Earth?
Yeah, I saw that before. But I mean, it doesn't even make sense when you see it. Like
Well,
that many objects are floating around.
yeah, I can't understand. I can't even understand that. Like, how many are floating? Like, it almost is mind-boggling to me. Just in the pure fact of like you said, if an alien species, like depending on how advanced they gotta navigate their way fucking around all those motherfuckers. Like, that that's wild to me. I mean, even the ISS. Like, I'll
Yeah,
say
but that's
this.
how big space is.
I know.
Like, it looks
Yeah.
like when you look at it, on a small scale like that, it looks. Yeah, but you're talking about thousands of miles between all of those satellites.
That's true. That's true. I wish I would have sent it to you, and I don't know if I saved it, but basically there was this video of this guy. He was like talking about in Star Trek, would they hit any stars in warp speed? Like, how likely is it that they would hit any stars? And basically, he used this mapping program of like the stars that we've mapped, like close enough to our solar system and stuff. And he went to warp speed, didn't hit a single star. And
Yeah,
basically, he
because there's
just
so
said,
much
because
room.
there's so much space, it's
Yeah.
incredible. Speaking of that, son, I remembered that what my dream was last night. I had a Star Trek dream. I can't remember much about it other than I woke up and I wanted to watch Star Trek 2, like the one with Khan and stuff, because I had this dream.
Oh, like the newer one?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Have you ever watched the original show, First Generation or whatever?
Not like enough to where I would know like here or there, kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
Have
I
you ever
mean,
watched
it's
it?
it's quite episodic, and then like there's like I guess a couple of episodes that bleed together, but yeah, I've watched it. It's good.
I've definitely heard a lot of people say that it was really good.
It's very
Um,
good. It's just it's more down to earth in a lot of ways than like watching something like Star Wars, because obviously Star Wars has like magic in it. But
I I also have this theory.
I mean, there's also kind of magical stuff in Star Trek too. So
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, well, Star Trek is basically like it's just us as an advanced civilization. Well, I guess there's like Earth aliens kind of that are like weird in a sense. Or maybe they're not Earth aliens. I don't know. Now that I'm just thinking about it, I think they're from other planets.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know enough of the Star Trek lore to speak out
I
on
don't
it.
either. I'll never forget
I
that.
guess.
Mom and Dad watched the Star Trek movies like as they came out back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, thinking about it now, it's kind of weird.
What,
They're
did
just
they
like,
watched it?
yeah, because like actually they probably watched some of the show too, because it was airing like back when I was a kid.
That
It was still on TV.
funny that you're saying that is I my dad came home. I was watching the Starsky and Hutch with Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller, and he found it so funny because he watched the Starsky and Hutch show, and he was just telling me that he was like, you had to have watched the show to understand how funny this is. He was actually laughing pretty hard,
Yeah,
but
there's
no,
probably there's probably some truth to that, but it's still a really funny movie, even if you never
it
seen the
is
show.
that that movie I honestly think is one of Owen Wilson's best. That and Wedding Crashers is really good. Vince Vaughn is just an actor that I think would be funny to hang out with.
Yeah, there's so many actors that I think would be a good time. But I guess we'll just go ahead and wrap it up here for the video. I think we're going on for like 20 or 25 minutes now, so.
Have we? Time flies when you're talking about movies.
Yeah. But anyways.
Movies in space.
Movies in space and time. Alright. Well, if y'all tuned in for this, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day
Thank
or
you guys.
night. Later.